Hey, you guys. So, today I wanted to talk a little bit in regards to mental health since it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And most of that is going to be, I would say, my own experience with mental health as well as mental health in general when it comes to everyday people. Now, I feel like as time has gone on, the idea of, mental health, taking time for you, understanding what's going on, that has been more accepted than I know it has been in the past. And I know for myself recently, you know, as you can see, I have not posted a whole ton. I've wanted to at times, and I'll explain that, but it's either for one of two reasons. I do these videos for essentially fun, whether it is kind of talking about, I'd say, heavier topics or things that people may be experiencing or wanting help with, or just for entertainment. I don't, this isn't like my full-time job. So I want to try anytime I do a video to put everything that I have into it, make sure it's the best that I feel I can put out there. And if it's not, then I do sort of kick myself for it. I am very, especially when it comes to this, like this is something too that's very new. So I know like the camera might not be the best. I know maybe how I go about things might not be the best, but that's why I constantly learn. But since this isn't my full-time job, I have another one. Sometimes that takes more priority. Otherwise, it is just me. And what I mean by that is sometimes, like, life, whether it's something, I have to help somebody else with something, or I'm doing something later. And sometimes it's just been, and with that, sometimes it's just been, for me, a lot of, like, self-doubt. I'll sit down, do a video, and for me, I'm like, will people really, like, I start going through everything. I'm like, will people enjoy it? Will somebody get something out of it? And at times I feel like I lose the purpose as to, why I do it. I just do it for fun. I don't try to gain anything from it. But also, too, with the overthinking, if I'm talking about something maybe I'm passionate about, I never want it to seem like I'm rambling or ranting or, oh, you've already discussed this topic, why discuss it again? Like, why keep digging up issues that you need to, like, just kind of be over with? And so for me, that's kind of a lot of it. Where I just start thinking too much and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't, or I just don't know if how I phrased it, if it's the best way that I want to kind of go about it and phrase it, because I want to make sure when I speak to something it's accurate and when I say appropriate, like I use the right wording and not my language where I just, if I say it's fire, lit, whatever it may be, like my slang, some people might understand it, some might not. And so I just want to make sure when I talk about things, it's right. And that's where sometimes I overthink too much. And I think it's important when it comes to those things. Like today, I took a day off because I needed to. Yeah, yes, you get the vacations, whatever else, but I know for me, like this last week, I was traveling for work. I got stuck in an airport, couldn't go home, tired. I was like, I can't, I just want to get home. And I'm sure that's how a lot of other people were feeling too. And I'm really bad at taking time off just for a day, because when I take time off, I want it to be enjoyed. Like I go somewhere or do something that I don't get to do every day. But, with today, it's just, I needed it for myself. It's just long time, needed it. But that's essentially where I think today, as I was speaking earlier, it's more accepted that, hey, if you need a day, take a day. If you need time to yourself, take that time for yourself. People have started to understand more, I think, when it comes to the different aspects of mental health. You know, some people suffer from depression, anxiety, others have OCD, others have ADHD, some have, bipolar disorder. There are so many things as we continue to learn, what makes up these different facets, what do we have to do to kind of help with them. And for some people it's therapy, for some people it's just finding a hobby, for some it's hey, I need the proper medication to balance it out. Everyone's going to be very different, and there is no guide in regards to this is how you should handle it, this is what you should do with it. And I also think, too, it's really important. I was speaking with a coworker about this, and you really need to be, I think, gentle with yourself. Essentially, what made me think about it is what we were talking about was more so in regards to, when maybe we were teenagers, how things, I think, are very different as you grow. You start to learn, you start to see, hey, this isn't what life is always going to be like. And I think sometimes that can be very worrisome. People start to become very concerned as to, okay, what is my life going to be like? And if you look at your life now and maybe you're not happy with it, you start to think, is this my life for the rest of, is this just gonna be my life forever? And there are things that definitely you can do to change it, but I also think, people are very good at putting on masks. I know, some people, they may be, around a group of friends, happy, smiling, but they, maybe they have to be. It's all about, I think, how we treat people and how we go about it. Again, speaking from experience, speaking for myself, I have talked with people where, I'm not, it's very hard for me sometimes to define friend, because when I think almost like a best friend, all that good stuff, I feel like it has to be somebody you trust, you talk about anything with. And I'm very nice to everybody. I can talk to everybody. In regards to who I share things with, that's very kind of sacred. And so I know some people have very different definitions of friends and how that goes about. So I just kind of go about my life as, hey, I'm friendly with this person, or I just kind of, whatever it may be, until I kind of understand the situation a little bit more. It's always been very difficult for me because I never want to assume maybe we're friends and then we're not and we just talk, because that's awkward. But nonetheless, with what I was saying, I've talked with people that, for me, I don't define as a friend, but if somebody needs something, I'm always there, because I definitely know from experience that it's it's difficult. You might not have somebody who would understand, and I do cherish those moments, and I make sure that, if anyone does come to me, it's not going to be something that's just shared all over. But I think it's really important to understand that some people are comfortable with sharing and some aren't. And you can be lonely and still have a ton of friends. You can be lonely and, of course, be alone. There is no definition, there is no, set path or what something looks like. It varies so much by people. And I think sometimes people do understand that, and other times they don't. And as I've seen, I would even say the last couple years, people talk a little bit more in regards to their own personal experience where, people see this like, a happy person, but in private or how they're really feeling it, that's the exact opposite. And you wouldn't know. Again, some people are very good at hiding that stuff. Some not so much, or you can kind of sense something is going on. And I think that's just some of the things where, as generations continue to have kids, they learn from their parents, like what to do, what not to do, maybe to handle a situation for their own children, and to make sure, hey, this is a safe area where we can talk about anything. But it's also, it sometimes feels, I don't want to say hypocritical, but as you grow up and get older, the sharing feels like, can I share this? Is it something that's going to be difficult? Like, how would somebody handle it? And that again is just all about trust. It's about, the people that I think you feel like you could talk to, and kind of going about it that way. I know in my situation, like, I would try and talk to my parents about stuff, and they didn't understand any of it. So, for me, I definitely get on the boat of, I tried, but it just wasn't understood. And that's how I think some people feel, whether it's with their own parents, their friends, and that's why in some cases they seek out therapy, or, hey, I need medication, because maybe you can't afford, because therapy can be expensive. So maybe you can't afford therapy, or it's not the right therapist, or, you're not sure what's kind of going on. It's those kinds of things. And I'm hoping as time goes on, not saying we see an uptick, but it's still this, more people understand different things in regards to mental illnesses, mental health, things kind of associated with that. And then also to learn more about the person. There are some things that I feel like, yes, you can definitely talk about, sports and all that, but sometimes it's really important to talk about how you're feeling. And it can't always be this, surface level stuff. Sometimes you need that deeper connection. And so that's what I'm hoping, as like time goes on, it's still this kind of like accepted uptick, and you have people that are trying to better themselves, or trying to, find things that will help them, in different ways. And that is sometimes a journey. It's not something that's going to be right away, and it's finding the things, honestly, that work for you. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today, because for myself, mental health is really important. I feel like a lot of people, even if they don't have like a diagnosed mental illness, it is very important to talk about things and, open up to whomever you feel comfortable with. Because sometimes if you just keep things inside, it can fester, and it can become a dark place. And a lot of people can identify with that. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you have any thoughts, please feel free to leave those down below, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.